Thank you, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. Martin Savage has been down on the ground, if you will, for this long day, and he joins us now. Martin, I hope you can hear me. I know we're having a little problem.
I can. And I wanted to pass along two things to you, Aaron. First of all, I was contacted even down here at Ground Zero by the Navy, saying that the New York area will have another visitation by a military vessel. This time it is going to be the Navy hospital ship, the U.S. Comfort. It will be passing underneath the Verrazano Bridge around 6 p.m. this evening, about an hour from now. And then about an hour later at 7 o'clock it will be tying up. This is a huge hospital ship that will be offering any aid, any logistical help, anything that it can do and provide to this area if it is needed. The unique thing about this is the fact that this is usually a ship you see in far distant shores. Now it is a military ship tying up here, and not because it's coming back to its home berth. As far as the speech that was given on site there impromptu by the President of the United States, through the benefit of radio here and other audio, some of the rescuers were able to hear that. I had to tell you, when we talked to the rescuers this morning, early this morning, and it was dark and it was gloomy and it was rainy and it was cold, the morale had really been sapped out of a lot of them. And then yet when those words were heard, as you heard the reaction out there at the site, a jolt of electricity went through them. And they have been renewed in two ways, inspired by the words of the President, inspired by the fact that the sun has come out, and now motivated probably twice as hard as they felt this morning to go back to the job that they want to do, to find someone alive and bring them out and return them to their families. Aaron?
Thank you. Rather than us sitting around talking about what the President had to say, I wonder if we can just go back and re-rack the tape. And for people, a lot of people, I suspect, in the East are just getting home from work anyway. The President, just to update you, is in Lower Manhattan now. He has been touring, if that's the right word, observing, looking at the site. And there was a moment not very long ago where the President grabbed a bullhorn in one hand and began to talk to the rescue workers who are down on the ground. It is a little hard to hear in parts, but it is absolutely worth taking a look at and listen to. If you guys have the tape, we can do it.
As we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens, I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of it soon. The nation sends its love and compassion to everybody who is here. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for making the nation proud. And may God bless America.
That was the President just a bit ago. Our senior analyst, Jeff Greenfield, is here. Judy, jump in whenever you wish to. There's no question here, Jeff. Just look at it. What did you see? And
I saw an interesting twist. We thought the President was coming up to boost the morale of the people working.
Work the other
I think
way.
the people were boosting the President's morale. I think he got a tremendous amount of strength and energy from the fact that these guys doing possibly as bad a job, or as worse a job, rather, as horrible a job as any American could ever have been asked to do. We're cheering him on. We're saying, we're with you. It's one of those moments where the kind of political give and take that we're so used to, and 4 days ago was dominating the headlines, totally swept away by the magnitude of this. And we're going to be seeing a lot of this all over the country.
It was. Go ahead, Judy.
I was just going to say, I think we're seeing just an extraordinary rallying on the part of the American people that we really can't even begin to know the dimensions of. I keep thinking back to what Billy Graham said at the prayer service here in Washington today. He said they were trying to divide the country, and instead they've done just the opposite. I think he called it a backlash. He said they've united us instead, and he talked about the choice that we have to let this destruction implode on us and disintegrate, but instead our choice is to make us stronger, and that's exactly what it's done, and I think you saw that today with the president.
It's not one of those things you can put a number on, but here are these numbers. Walmart says it sold over 300,000 American flags just Tuesday and Wednesday. Add another 200,000 American flags that Kmart sold. A couple of huge retailers, a lot of small retailers, I suppose, were selling flags too. It is just one of those signs of how people have taken this all.
You know what I'm even encouraged by, and this may sound weird, I'm encouraged by the fact that they haven't completely put politics aside. The Democrats wanted the resolution of support rewritten, not to give the president a blank check. And I almost think it's like when a loved one is very sick and then they start snapping a little, you say, okay, I know they're okay because they're feeling good enough to even have those arguments. Politics is so in our blood that even at this moment, you have people saying, all right, but we still have to remember we're the Congress, you're the president, we have to give you our support. And I, in fact, take that as a point of strength, not a point of weakness.
That politics, when it's, without getting off completely on another tangent here, the problem with politics recently, as I watch, has been so nasty. But politics is not a bad word, and the process is important, and they ought to do the work of debating the side. That just needs to be done civilly and appropriately.
Absolutely. You remember the Gulf War, where we talk about how United Americans was. They had a debate in both houses of Congress. They had a vote to make sure the president was going to get the support. We're not going to have anything like that because this is so much more serious. But the events of today, when we see these pictures and hear those words, it takes us so far beyond the political terrain that things have been played in that it really has swept it off the board. And yet there's enough left of our institutional strength to say we're going to do this the way the Constitution told us to do it. I think that's a strong point.
We're expecting to see shortly some more pictures. And maybe my imagination, Kelly Wallace is up on the roof, she can tell me if I'm wrong. Looks like it got brighter a little bit outside. It's been so dreary here today, so nasty, cold, and wet. And just about the time the president arrived, we saw the sun peek through from the west. Well, there's no question, Kelly, it looks a whole lot brighter than it was.
It is a whole lot brighter. As you noted, it was a short time after the president arrived in New York. You could see the sun coming through the clouds. The first time we saw that on this very dark and dreary day, and obviously somewhat of a symbolic moment, lifting the spirits for the firefighters and the rescue workers who have been working out in the rain all day, and obviously that making their jobs a lot more difficult. You know, I wanted to just add, it's interesting points that you and Jeff are making too, and of course something that has happened here with the president. The president was somewhat criticized, as we know, earlier in the week on Tuesday when he left Florida, and then the decision was for the president to go to Louisiana and then to another military base in Nebraska before returning to Washington late Tuesday night. Some criticism that the president should have been more visible. And then the White House saying the reason for that travel plan was that there was a real and credible threat to Air Force One. Certainly, the White House, though, obviously the president getting out more, I'm not saying in response to that criticism, but certainly as the events have unfolded and as the administration was able to sort of see what was going on and get all its systems in place, definitely putting the president out. We saw him, of course, going to the Pentagon. We saw him go to a hospital yesterday, and of course coming here to New York. Obviously very important for the president because he has a role that really no one else can fill right now, and that is the role of the commander-in-chief, and of course making very important decisions about next steps, but also the person to comfort the nation and to try and come out here and lift spirits. And as you and Jeff noted, though, and we've talked about, he did that here, it appears, with those firefighters, but certainly the president getting a boost, and it will be something he'll probably look back to as he works with his team on the very difficult decisions in the days, weeks, and months ahead.
Just, Kelly, hang on a sec. Just hold on that shot a minute. Late on a Friday afternoon, the 14th of September, the sun finally comes out. And in all that has happened this week, That one gives you goosebumps right there. The shot of the Statue of Liberty, which is, you could see so clearly from what was the World Trade Center. You can see from certainly where we are in New York, where Kelly could turn around and absolutely see it out there, and how pretty and different in a way it looks today. What a nice shot, guys. Thank you very much. We expect in just a moment or two, and if it seems like we're vamping a little bit, we are, the pool pictures of the president from the ground level when he grabbed that bullhorn, that American flag. These pictures will be, we would assume, certainly much more clear, less grainy than the ones we showed you a little bit ago. And I think you'll get a better sense of the reaction of people, the reaction of the president, the expression on the president's face will all tell us something about not only how this is affecting the rescue workers, but the president.
You can't go any louder. I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon. The nation sends its love
Harry, by pushing
and compassion
No, sorry.
to everybody who is here.
Cross the line on that one.
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for making the nation proud. And may God bless America.
All right, let's get back a little bit, folks. Give him some room.
Flag here. And there's your shot.
I was just thinking, Aaron, that 30-something years ago in this neighborhood, the line between those who supported the Vietnam War, construction workers, the so-called hard hats, and those who opposed it, and how sometimes that literally spilled into violence in the streets of New York. And if you can find that line today, I'd be amazed. There is no such line. There is no such division of any kind like that. In this case, this is not choosing up any sides. What has happened in New York on Tuesday, I think, has, at least for now, obliterated that line completely.
Statue of Liberty in your shot. Judy?
Well, Aaron and Jeff, quite a day for President Bush. From my perspective, that is the most comfortable I think I've seen him looking under extraordinary circumstances as he stood there with his arm around that firefighter with the bullhorn in his hand. Comfortable in his role as president since this terrible event on Tuesday morning. The emotions have run the gamut for this president today, from just now visiting, touring the area around the World Trade Center, remains, wreckage in New York City. Earlier today, the president was in Washington at a prayer service he called for at the National Cathedral here in Washington, and here are some of the sights and the sounds from that service.
Those of us who are gathered here Muslim, Jew, Christian, Sikh, Buddhist, Hindu, all people of